You're standing in a hotel lobby in a city you've never been to before. Your name is not your name. Your passport is not your passport. The person you're pretending to be has a wife and a dog and a favorite coffee order that you memorized on the flight over. Somewhere in this building, there's a person carrying a briefcase with information that could start a war or prevent one. Your job is to get that briefcase before breakfast. This is not a movie. This is every level of what it actually means to be a secret agent, what it pays, what it costs, and what changes at each rung of the ladder from the analyst desk in a basement office to the hotel lobby where the fate of nations sits inside a leather briefcase.
Level 1. The Analyst. You are not James Bond. You are not Jason Bourne. You are a person with a security clearance and a desk in a building that doesn't officially exist. Your job is to read things. Thousands of pages of intercepted communications, satellite imagery assessments, financial records from shell companies that lead to other shell companies that lead to a man in a country you've never visited who is having a very bad week and doesn't know why. Your income at this level is a government salary. Stable, unremarkable, enough to live on but not enough to feel like you're being compensated for knowing things that would terrify the general public. You work in a basement, literally or figuratively. The windows are either non-existent or they face a parking garage. You cannot tell anyone what you do. Not your family, not your friends, not the person you're dating who thinks you're a budget analyst for the Department of Commerce. Most people quit at this level. Not because the work is hard, because the secrecy is corrosive. You start to feel like you're disappearing inside the cover story. But you don't quit. You get noticed. Someone upstairs reads one of your reports and realizes you're not just summarizing information. You're seeing patterns that nobody else can see.
Level 2. The Case Officer. They move you out of the basement. You get a desk near a window. More importantly, you get assets. Human beings in other countries who provide information in exchange for money or ideology or leverage or some combination of all three. You are not running operations yet. You are running people who run operations. You meet them in cafes and park benches and the back corners of bookstores. You hand them envelopes, they hand you envelopes. The envelopes contain the difference between a government making an informed decision and a government guessing. Your salary increases. Not dramatically. You're still a government employee, but you now receive hazard pay and language differentials and the strange bureaucratic bonuses that accrue when your job description includes the phrase "other duties as assigned," and those other duties might get you killed. You learn the craft, how to detect surveillance, how to dead drop a package in a location that will be retrieved by someone you will never meet, how to lie to people you care about in a way that protects them rather than deceives them. This is the level where you realize something uncomfortable. You're good at this. The lying, the compartmentalization, the ability to sit across from someone and extract information while they extract nothing from you. It should bother you more than it does.
Level 3. The Operations Officer. You are no longer meeting assets in cafes. You are running operations. You plan them. You approve them. You sit in a secure room with senior officials and brief them on the thing that needs to happen in a country whose name they will never say out loud. This is where you transition from a person who handles people to a person who handles situations. The difference is the stakes. An asset can be replaced. A failed operation cannot. It becomes a diplomatic incident, or a news story, or a body that washes up somewhere it shouldn't. Your salary at this level becomes respectable in a way that your analyst self would not have believed. Government pay scale plus operational bonuses plus the consulting offers that start arriving from private intelligence firms who would very much like to hire you away from public service. But here's what they don't tell you in training. The higher you rise, the less you do the thing you are good at. You become a manager of people who do the thing. You spend more time in budget meetings than in the field. You miss the craft. You miss the cafe meetings. You miss being the person who actually held the envelope.
Level 4. The Station Chief. They send you overseas, not as a visitor, as the person in charge of an entire station. You have diplomatic cover, some vague title at the embassy that explains your presence without explaining anything at all. You attend cocktail parties and make small talk with people who may or may not be intelligence officers from opposing services. This is where your life becomes genuinely strange. You attend your child's school play in the afternoon and authorize a rendition operation in the evening. You help with math homework and then review intelligence that will determine whether a drone strike happens tomorrow. The two realities coexist in the same brain, and you learn to switch between them without flinching. Your income at this level is substantial. Diplomatic salary plus station chief differential plus housing allowance plus the quiet acknowledgement from your government that you are doing something that cannot be publicly acknowledged. You are not wealthy, but you are comfortable in a way that feels almost inappropriate given what you do. But then something happens. An operation goes wrong, or an asset is compromised, or a journalist gets too close, and suddenly the carefully constructed separation between your two lives collapses.
Level 5. The Ghost. They pull you out, not out of the agency, out of visibility. Your diplomatic cover is gone. Your name is removed from public databases. You become what the intelligence community calls a ghost, someone who exists on paper only in the most classified systems and exists nowhere else. This is not a punishment. This is the highest level of trust. They only ghost the operatives who know too much to exist in public. You are now doing the work that cannot be acknowledged by anyone in any form. The operations you run will never appear in any official history. They will succeed or fail in complete darkness. Your income becomes untraceable, not in the sense of being paid in cash in a briefcase. That's movie nonsense. But your salary is routed through shell entities and consulting firms that exist only to provide cover for operatives like you. The money is clean, even if the source is not. The bank asks no questions because the bank has been told not to ask questions. You lose things at this level. Relationships. The ability to have a normal conversation with a stranger without calculating what they might know and who they might be. The part of yourself that existed before the agency, that part is gone now. Most ghosts burn out within 5 years. The isolation is too complete. The work is too heavy. But if you survive the burn, if you keep operating when every rational part of your brain is telling you to walk away, you reach a level very few people have ever seen. Level 6. The Legend. You are no longer running operations. You are running the people who run operations. You sit in a room with the director of the agency and the national security advisor and the people whose names appear in newspapers. They ask you what should be done. You tell them, they do it. Your income at this level is genuinely difficult to track because you are compensated in ways that don't appear on tax returns. Government salary, consulting retainers, speaking fees from think tanks that are really just cover for continued consultation. The book deal you will never write because the book would be classified. The private sector board seats that materialize when you retire. You have everything. The access, the influence, the knowledge of how the world actually works while everyone else is reading about it in the newspaper the next morning. And you discover something that nobody warned you about. You cannot tell anyone, not your spouse, not your children, not the people you've worked with for 30 years, who have the same clearance you do, but not the same need to know. The most interesting thing you have ever done, the thing that defined your entire adult life, is something you will take to your grave. The secret of being a secret agent is that the secrecy was never the exciting part. The exciting part was the work, the puzzle, the moment when you sat in that basement with a stack of documents and saw something that nobody else could see. That was the real job. Everything after that was just management. The hotel lobby was never just a hotel lobby. It was the place where you discovered that you could be someone else, someone sharper, someone more capable, someone who could hold the fate of nations in their hands and not shake. And that version of you didn't need the clearance or the title or the director's circle. That version of you existed the first time you saw a pattern nobody else could see. The rest was just the world catching up. Subscribe to Cody Finance for new videos every week.